Vocab 12-5 samples and surveys. It's 5 questions in the read and got it, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's pretty straightforward stuff. Not a lot of math really here, more definition type things. First term is quantitative data. It has units, can be measured, can be numerically compared. Things like mean, median, mode, range. So again, quantitative data. The example I have for you down here is things like age, right? These things can be quantified, numbers, age, weight, time, things like that have numbers to compare them. Alternately, we have qualitative data. It talks about qualities of people, describes a category, cannot be measured, cannot be numerically compared. We use the mode, like, cheeseburger is not a number, right? If we talk about what do you want for lunch, pizza, chicken, or cheeseburger. Well, cheeseburger, you can't average chicken and cheeseburger and come up with chaburger. I don't know, whatever you'd call it. But, so we use the mode, most frequently occurring. Things like hair color, attitude, like you're optimistic, hair color, like brown, red, orange, green, whatever color your hair is. Now, zip code is a number, but you don't average zip codes. Well, I live somewhere between those two, so let's average it. That doesn't make sense. So if you talk about how many people live in certain zip codes, things like that, that is technically qualitative, even though it does have a number. Pay attention to that. I'm going to try to trick you on the quiz and test. I promise. Univariate, as in one unit, a data set that uses only one variable. So if I ask for one thing, like hair color, that's univariate. I have an example in here, atomic weight, right? Alternate to that is bivariate. Notice bi, like two. A data set that uses two variables. If I ask for hair color and eye color, that would be bivariate data. In this case, we talk about edge length and volumes of cubes. Two things being measured, bivariate. Population, an entire group, that from which information is needed. So if, now again, I give you a Venn diagram here to kind of, oh look, this is, population. Population and sample is part of the population. But if I said we're going to talk about all voters, right, that might be the population I'm picking. And the next one, the sample might be people under 20 who vote, so a chunk of those people, or, whatever it is. Or the population might be all people in the U.S., and the population I'm picking might be only people who live in houses with bricks, whatever. Or the sample might be that, rather. So population is the entire group from which we're selecting information. So a sample is that part of the population that is surveyed to find characteristics of the whole population. So again, going back, if the population is all people live in the U.S., or all adults, the sample might be, I just sample people who vote. Or I might sample, again, you have to pick some way of knowing, that's representative of the population. And sometimes you don't, you mess up and you get biases. So if I said my population is all 8th graders, right? So this might be a better example, yeah. And the sample might be I just, pick one 8th grader from every classroom in the country. It'd be a big population, or a big sample rather, but still it'd be maybe representative of the whole. Now there are different ways of sampling. You can pick random, so survey a population at random, drawing names out of a hat, whatever. So if you guys, the classroom was my population, and I took a sample of you, and we picked all your names out of a hat and just picked out 5. That'd be a sample. Systematic is selecting a number like n at random, then survey every nth person. So like pick 10, right? Every 10th person gets sampled. Things like that. Stratified, separate a population into smaller groups, each with certain characteristics, and survey at random within each group. So separate high school into grades and randomly survey students from each grade, that sort of thing. Make sure, or separate them into boys and girls, and so many boys, so many girls get, so that's stratified. Last term is bias, an error in sampling that causes a survey to be misleading. So you can have question bias. This one's kind of fun. Do you prefer exciting action movies or boring documentaries? People go, well, I'm not boring, so I like exciting action movies. You would say instead, without a bias, action movies or documentaries. Sample bias, voluntary response to a survey. So this one happens a lot. You hear about those surveys all over the internet or on Facebook, and they go, oh look, 9 out of 10 people surveyed say they like to eat food, right? So the bias there is that it's only people who volunteer. You're missing all those people who don't volunteer, like me, that go, yeah, I don't have to survey, leave me alone. And location bias, so asking shopping habits of people at a mall. right? That's missing out on Amazon or whatever else you get. How people shop. So you got to make sure you go around to different places or whatever, that kind of thing.